Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in with me today. As you can see, I am getting set up today to do a bit of a healing spell, or to show you how I would go about doing a healing spell. So I don't know how long this video is going to go on for. It might go on for a little while, but I promise I will try and keep it tight. So I've got my tea and I hope that you're having a great week. I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown of what I'm doing and also the space that I have set up today. I do a lot of my working on the floor of my house near a window, or I do it at my altar space if I set it up wherever that may be in my house. And this is something that I don't do often, to be fair. It's something that is, it's got to be one of those times where I really need to go in there and really help someone that needs my help. Someone who could be a sick friend, a sick family member, someone with an ailment. And, you know, we all know someone who is genuinely struggling with their health. So I'm going to look at this video from a very realistic point of view, and I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on healing spells or healing magic, healing mantras. And this was also requested by a friend of mine, and I'm actually going to be doing this for real after the video has commenced and finished. I'm going to go ahead and do my spell for my friend who is just going through a little bit of some health related issues at the moment. So let's settle in. And I'll give you a little bit of a rundown. I found this rug, which is like a little mat rug with some tassels, that was like at Target. Here in Australia we have Target, and I needed it for my healing and massage room and my spell room that I do my readings from. So I thought I would use this as a center because it already had this beautiful center to it in the middle of the little rug. Now, there are a couple of tools that you will need to perform this. I'm only showing you how I go about doing this, so we all have different ways of doing it. Today, I'm going to be using a white feather that I have found, and I'm going to tell you that, yes, you do need to find or acquire some of the items for this spell of your own effort. It can't be something that is just bought. As I believe that when you step up to the spiritual world and you are serious about this, you are going to be required to put in a lot of effort and time. Just like anything else, magic or using magic is a learned skill, and it's something that you will get better at with time. So generally speaking, a lot of things don't just come easy. You know, as you know, you're probably a witch like me, nothing really comes easy. It's an uphill struggle, lots of ups and downs, but you know what I mean. So my most important, or one of the most important tools that I'll be using today is the power of the crystal. Now, I have a really beautiful piece of clear quartz. This is my favorite crystal that I actually own, and I'm just sharing it with you now so you can see. It is absolutely beautiful, and I really wanted to do this video outside today, but I of course live in Melbourne and it's usually raining. As you know, if you live in Melbourne, it's quite overcast, so I'm doing it inside. Now, I've just acquired a few items here that I would associate with healing. Obviously, this is a more receptive, feminine, softer type of magic or working. So I've got this beautiful seashell that I actually found this one and I polished it up. It looks so beautiful. It's like mother of pearl, which just kind of, to me, is evocative of healing. So I'll place that on my little altar space. And of course the sea, as you know, once a month, I take all of my crystals that I work with mostly, and I take them down to the ocean and I wash them in the salt water. I also do a lot of cleansing at the ocean when I can get to an ocean, although I don't live too far away from some. But anyway, another beautiful piece of rose quartz, always good for love, always good for healing. And of course, the highest vibration of frequency is oneness. Why? Because we're all one. I've got my cobra, my gold cobra, which is the mantra of my spirit animal. And I also have a morden pestle, which I will be showing you, I'll be using later in this little spell, and some cactus that I have as well. I kind of associate that with like soothing energy. Cactus is kind of cool, and it's kind of, although it does have its sharper points to it. So what else? I will be using, yes, some olive oil. So if you've got some in the kitchen, very handy, very useful to have around. Also very good for purification. As we know, olive oil is about that. Now for this spell, this particular one, I do advise to use beeswax candles if you can get a hold of them. So I'm going to take one of these out of the packet, and we'll go with this one. Now, a lot of people say when it comes to spirituality, working with candles, that it doesn't matter what type of candle you get. That is true to a sense. For me personally, I prefer a natural candle that is on the beeswax side. Obviously, it was made by nature. It has more of an earth element to it. A lot of candles that I come across these days have a lot of toxic chemicals in them, and you don't know it, but I do. I do, because I've been working with them for a long time, that a lot of them can actually make you quite sick. A lot of them are very toxic. They burn very quickly. They're very watery. They can spark and cause fires and are quite dangerous. So I tend to, when it comes to healing magic, I will be preferred to use a white taper candle, which is one of the longer, thinner ones. And I also prefer beeswax, as it is a closer vibration to nature. Yes, it is a little bit more on the pricey side, but at the end of the day, if you can't afford to buy a candle, I think you should be doing magic in prosperity first, if you're that broke, to be fair, before you consider doing healing on someone else. Remember, we can't give what we don't have. I will be talking about the psychology of healing in this video as well. So I'm going to go ahead and place my candle here. I've got a pine cone, which I found, which I love. I love going to the pine forest. As you know, I am very much a forest witch. A lot of my artwork and inspiration comes from a lot of the nature hikes and walking. In Australia, we call it bushwalking. We call it the bush when you're going into the forest. Okay, so what else have we got? I've got some beautiful amethyst here, a beautiful amethyst shard that I've got. It's a nice piece to have as well. So I might go ahead and place that. Now I'm facing this altar space that I've set up for my healing today is always facing north on the pentagram. So I had someone ask me the other day from my video on how to hex, not how to hex, I think it was the other one that I did, which was cord cutting. How do I know which way north is facing? Get a compass. If you really are serious about doing this level of work, seriously, you will figure it out, okay? So you can download an app these days where you could just download the app and it'll point you on the compass, will spin around and it will show you which way north is. Or you could go on Google Earth. You've got to be resourceful, guys. As a witch, we have to use what we have. This is lovely, as I always say, to have a nice, clean, spiritual space that you have set aside. But sometimes we don't have all these tools and we just have to work with what we have, and that's okay too. So please don't get too hung up on the physical stuff here that I'm showing you, because it's not essential to your magic. The real magic comes from the inside of your soul. The internal magic of a witch is inside your being, okay? It's not an external thing. Okay, what else have we got today? I can tell this is going to be a long one. So if you're there, I do apologize. Now for healing, I like to really get in the vibe of healing. So I actually, being an artist and having my own artwork, I can sometimes even look at my own artwork that I've drawn and I can go visually into the archetype of what it's communicating. And in my case, I did publish a tarot card deck. And when I think of healing, I think of balance, I think of equality, I think of the equilibrium, being whole and restored, and that's what healing is. And I think of the justice card. So I think of the white doves, and it's kind of that evocative of that energy. I also think of the strength card that I did, and of course when it's drawn by your own hand it means so much more because you've taken the time to draw it. And you've got the cobra, which is my totem. We've got the infinity, so that really makes me feel I'm kind of setting the mood. And of course the four of swords, which is the rabbit that's resting. So, and all of the swords are pointing outwards, protection. So I get those visual aids around me that can help me feel more in tune with what I'm doing. And yours could be different. Everyone's different. As you know, we've all got different, ways of looking at things. This is just my interpretation, guys. So please don't take it as the holier than now. So let's get a little bit into the psychology of what I'm doing. I've set up a little bit of the space. Healing really in itself, to me, when I think of someone saying, I want to heal you, you see, this is a very complicated thing to talk about, getting into the psychology of this, because ultimately what we're talking about is we're going to be shifting energy or vibration in someone else or around someone else. And that's actually not as simple as one would actually think. So if we have someone that is suffering from an ailment or an ongoing condition, then that's something that is happening in their world. And I believe in, of course, cause and effect. Like, how did that come to be? Where did that come from? So we have to be willing to understand that that's their journey, that's their projection, that's something that's happening in their reality. And we're coming at it from a point of view where we want to kind of come in, and whatever is in misalignment, we're trying to recenter that and override that and bring that into a place that is grounded, and then energetically remove any negative energy around them and remove any lower vibrational frequency that could be making them sick. But we live in a world where everything makes you sick. If you haven't noticed, we have mobile phones on us all the time. It does incredible damage to our internal organs, and we're only now just starting to realize the loss of semen, the loss of the fertility problems that happen around that. We know all the foods that we eat have toxic chemicals in them. We know all of the meat that we eat, like the animal, like there's just so many things out there and so many factors that can make people sick. And of course, I believe the leading cause of making people ill would also come into play with a very, very sick society that is already in fragmentation. So as we know, oneness is the natural state of all things. Fragmentation is separation of something. So when there is fragmentation occurring on the emotional or astral or spiritual world in a person, then we're going to have physical effects of that. And then of course, we've also got the scientific side of it as well, where if you're around eating shithouse food every day, you're smoking every day, you're doing drugs every day, you're drinking every day, you're not really honoring your own body and honoring your own temple, well then you're not going to be vibrating at a radiant, healthy glow, are you? So coming at this from the left-hand perspective, and you're probably even thinking, why is he even doing this video? Is because I am here to a sense where I don't necessarily work with light beings. I believe angels are actually way, way harder to connect with than a demon is, let me tell you that. So a lot of this stuff that when we even look at trying to heal someone is completely self-inflicted. It's something that they themselves have done to themselves. So if they're unwilling to see what they've done to themselves, and they're going to continue this level of behavior which has led them to being unwell or sick, well, that's on them. And this isn't going to work. This won't work if someone isn't committed to healing. If someone has given up on the will to live, then they have given up on the will to live, and it's not your place to interfere. As I know, I see a lot of people that are mentally ill, physically ill, and I know that at a certain age, they're not willing to change that vibration. And everything is made of vibration. You can probably hear, I've got a sound bath going on in the background right now. You can go find it on YouTube for free. Everything is a vibration of energy. So if they're in a vibration that they're addicted to, or they're in a pattern of that vibration, well, then this is not really going to be that beneficial for them, because they are not really committed to self-improvement. And in that case, coming from my point of view, you get no compassion and no empathy from me. I don't care. And I wouldn't waste my time trying to heal an idiot. But at the end of the day, I might need that idiot alive and well, and I may need them here. So I can't just be like, okay, hurry up and then just go off and fucking die. I'm not going to do that to someone if I need them. Okay, so a lot of the best form of help is self-help. All right, if you're around a toxic person and you're an adult, well, anything that's toxic to me, what do you think I'm going to do with it? I'm going to fuck it off. Okay, so remember, it always comes down to self-accountability. If you get in a car with someone that's driving dangerously and going through red lights, and you don't say, hey, I feel unsafe, please stop, how much accountability are you prepared to take in that vibration? Do you understand? A lot of people don't like hearing that. It's just like never exercising, never taking care of your health. Well, what do you think's going to happen here? So we've got to get really, really realistic. Now, a lot of trauma that is in the body is also obviously percolates in the body. A lot of unresolved things that have not been integrated sit in different parts of the body, in the sacral chakra, in the heart chakra, in the crown chakra, and they stay there and they make you unwell. Now, in order to restore something and bring it to being fully whole again, we have to integrate the parts that are in fragmentation with that and understand it so that we can mend it and put it back together again. And this is kind of just a very overgeneral fast track of trying to do that for someone. But if they're unwilling to heal, then this is all a complete waste of time, and I wouldn't even bother. So there are many ways to do healing energy, or to send healing energy, as I would say. So in this case, you could be healing yourself. You could be doing this on yourself, where you're funneling energy down from source. You might be working with an angel or a goddess or a deity, whatever it is that you choose to use. That's really up to you. But you're funneling energy down from source to bring you into alignment with your higher self. You might be asking for help from your ancestors. It really depends on where you're coming from with this. You might even be doing a spell on, like, an energy healing on your animal. What we know is that in the spirit world, time and distance means nothing. The spirit world's time doesn't operate on the level that it does here, so it doesn't work how you think it does. Okay, so please just remember that. So in your mind's eye, when we're raising energy up, we have an abundance of energy. It's like love. We're not going to run out of love anytime soon. We always have love to give. It's coming from source. It's coming from ourselves. Okay, so I'm going to, instead of rabbiting on too much about the concept of healing, which I could do all day, let's just get into the physical element of what we are doing here. And I probably will, continue chatting a little bit more. All right, so this is very self-explanatory. What we're going to do, we're going to get a plate and we're going to place it in the middle of the space that we have. We also have, of course, a photo. Now, I am actually doing this for real after this video. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to place the name and the date of birth on the back of the photograph. You can get these printed for 50 cents, 25 cents, wherever you can. And when I do this, I'll also say moon sign, sun sign. Sun and moon to me are the most important. As we know, your moon sign is who you really are in your internal world, and your sun sign is your external world. So name, date of birth, moon sign, sun sign in the back. Now we would state in this is a petition. So we would write on the back of the photo, what is the agenda of this healing work today? So we really want this person to, if they have brain cancer, then we are stating that this person, we are wanting them to be healed, and we want the cancer to be removed. We want it gone. We want it out of the way. We don't want it in that person's body anymore. So we're stating down in a petition what the fuck we are communicating in the spell. And get specific with it, get really specific with it as well. So if it's bad liver, bowel problems, intestinal problems, we're not so much focusing on the energetic cause of it. We're more focusing on what we can do right now to really try and ease someone else's pain and get them out of that state that they're in. Because let's face it, it's a really bad, when you're in a bad state, or you come out of an operation, or you've gone through some kind of medical procedure, you probably are going to be completely defenseless. You're not going to be able to defend yourself because you're not in a place of protection. So we're trying to protect them. So we've got the crystals around them, and energetically we are connecting and visualizing on the person that we are really focusing on in our mind's eye. So if you have items that belong to them, then place them around the photograph. If you've got anything like obviously hair or fingernail clippings, I know that sounds a little bit more on the darker side, but we are trying to create a doorway or an energetic match where we're able to really connect with that person's energy. And of course, nothing's going to fast track that just as fast as what their DNA would. So we need that. We would gather all of the items that we're wanting to do. If you've got any type of jewelry would be the perfect thing to place on a healing altar for the person. Now, for this frequency, we're not requiring a demon. We're not requiring an energy that's on. I'm not using that. We're using a universal healing energy, and it's kind of a little bit of a fusion of energy here. So if you're more leaning towards Indian or Daoism, shamanism, then that's what you would go with. When it comes to working with a demon for healing, I had someone ask me this the other day. Yes, the demon will and can heal, but it's not really in the interest of a demon to heal a human. Humans to demons are trivial. They are not really considered vital unless you have a frequency or a meaning to the demon or a very specific code of energy or blood. The demon probably isn't interested in helping you for a healing. There are situations that I have heard of where people have made deals or can make a pact with a demon to create healing for a loved one or a sick child or a family member. But generally, when it comes to working with a demon, the demon will require some level of payment. So basically what I'm saying here is a demon is really more interested in you building a relationship with the demon, and the demon has to be able to get something out of it. There's got to be an exchange of payment here. And I know that sounds hard to hear, but that's also with a lot of other energies as well. That's why it's highly unlikely that the first time you ever attempt to connect to a god or a deity of some kind, it's probably just going to ignore you. You have to show that you are absolutely adamantly serious about doing this. So I'm talking every day for weeks, for months, for years, not giving up on your faith, not letting it go, really trying to reach out. That is how you do it. And then one day, I can promise you, something happens, it clicks, and you will know that you have got their attention and they're here. So I hope that made sense. So I wouldn't really be doing that, and that's not what we're doing in this spell. I know I'm getting a little bit on a side tangent, but that's what it is. So to heal or to mend is that we're taking the frequency that's broken within them and we're trying to just soothe it and trying to ease their pain. So you kind of like envision, this is all going to be happening through your hands. So you could be envisioning as you hold your hand over the top of the photograph, envisioning that you're really, really connecting with them and their energy. And you're really think of one of the things that I like to do, and I've done this for my dog after she had an operation. I energetically held her in my arms and I took her in my mind's eye to the ocean, and I held her little body in my arms, and she was very light and very appreciative and gentle and trusted me. And it was in my mind's eye I did this, and I walked her down into the ocean and I walked her down to the beach, And once I got to the waves started hitting my feet, and I started to walk in up to my knees, up to my waist. And then I brought her into the water and I gently held her in my arms as the waves started hitting us both. And I envisioned the waves crashing over her little body and just healing and mending and cleansing, and just all of this light coming down from the sky and hitting the water. Also, one of the things that you can do during this ritual or little spell is you take the clear quartz. Now, please don't ask me if you can use tourmaline or tiger's eye or lapis lazuli, although lapis lazuli is good if it's in the pointing of a wand, but it would be best for the clear crystal if you do this outside in the sun. And what you do, you hold the crystal over the top of the photograph of the person you're trying to heal, and the light will hit the crystal and then it will illuminate, and the light will go through down into the photograph of the person. And so the photograph is a perfect conduit or a point or a counterpoint to really helping your visualization of that connection of that person. So yeah, you could do this at a beach, but beaches for me really restore me. They really make me feel, I feel very peaceful. I feel very cleansed. Like water element to this would be great. If you've got any water around, even better. So we're not doing anything to hurt, but we've got to be realistic about what we're doing. All right, so let's get on with it. So what I would do is I would take the beeswax candle. I'm gonna leave the wick a little bit longer. Okay, now I'll just clear some space. Take the mortar and pestle, put that in the middle. Every good witch probably has one of these, or maybe you don't. They're pretty easy to get. Now, I actually have a packet of beautiful miniature rose buds, which you can see. This could also be rose tea. It's perfect for what we're doing. Very easy and very cheap to get. I'll just put a little bit in my hand so you can see. Yeah, beautiful. We're gonna add that into the mortar and pestle. Okay, now I'm just gonna grind this up a little bit. Get physical, guys. We've got to get into it, so don't be afraid to really crush it. And as we're doing this, we're really working in our intention, holding our hand and envisioning light coming down into our rose petal. Now I want to get that quite fine because you probably know what I'm going to do with it. So yes, herbs and plants all have a vibration. This would be best done probably under Venus, under the lunar phase of Venus. That's looking pretty good to me, but I want it a little bit finer, so we'll just keep grinding. Yeah, now just keep thinking of the person. As you're doing all of this, we're really thinking about what we're doing, thinking about the illness the person has and how they really need our protection right now. And we're gonna help their healing really get fast-tracked way faster. Okay, so let's make some space. Now I've got a larger candle here. I'm trying to do this all on camera, guys, so yeah, please bear in mind. Tip out our dust or our crushed up rose, as we know, or tea leaf rose there. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to anoint the candle, and we're going to do that with olive oil. There is actually a little chant that I would say. It's a Kundalinian one, which is a pranic healing one. And I would actually, while I'm doing this, you probably don't need a lot of oil, guys. So one of the things I always do is get too much oil, just a tiny little bit. That is absolutely plenty. Now rub it into your hands and really work in the energy, work in the healing energy that's coming out of your heart chakra and down into the candle. Really working at massaging the oil into the candle. We're really working that intention in there. And I would say it's, I'm not gonna butcher this too much. As I'm doing this, I would say, Rama di sa, sa se di hum, Rama di sa, se di hum, Rama di sa, se di hum, So I can say that over and over again as I'm sprinkling all of the rose petal, crushed rose petal, onto the candle that I am anointed. I've consecrated this also before I started with a little bit of incense. I had some rose incense as well. That's looking pretty nice. I'll bring that nice and close so you can see what I'm doing here. That's looking lovely. Rama de sa ha sa de hum, Rama de ha sa se de hum. Okay, so I'm kind of fast tracking this, but you kind of get where I'm going with it. So let's clear up the space a little bit. Saying my incantation over and over again in my head. Rama de sa ha se de hum, Rama de, yep. Enjoying my sound bath music. Pretty easy to get, and it really gets me in the zone. Okay, so let's get our plate back here. Now, sometimes with the candles, if you don't have a candle holder, what you could use is just a little bit of contact, you know, like blue tack. I think that's what you might know it as. So I'll break off a little bit of blue tack, place that in the middle of the plate. I like to dress it up, as you know. I like to put in a bit of effort, push that down so it's nice and firm. Okay, I would sprinkle some more of the rose around the base of the candle. That's looking pretty good already to me. I wish I could show you more like what it looks like on side on. So I'll try and bring it closer so you can see this is what a healing candle looks like to me. Now, what I would do is I would place the feather at the bottom there. Rama de sa ha sa de sam, Rama de ha sa sa de hum. Really starting to looking pretty good. Now the photograph, name, date of birth, petition, what we're doing for the healing energy that we're sending to the person, and of course sun and moon sign. We're placing the plate on top of that. Might place some crystals in there as well. Got my feather. So we're now starting to build that nice power base there. So that's looking pretty good to me. I've got my crystals. All right, I also have, just because I like to be creative and I like to make the spells my own, I actually have some sugar stars, or you might have glitter or any type of cake decoration. Probably going, what the hell? This is actually really good for a healing spell because it's like, think of like if you've ever heard of like a sweetening jar. Like a sweetening jar would also be very similar to, you know, something that you would use to soften someone's point of view with magic. So if they're really against something, you could use a sweetening jar to, you know, not manipulate them, but just soften their point of view on something. So that is always a good one. Some people like to use glitter or, you know, whatever it is that you like. I've got hundreds and thousands. But yeah, it's the intention of energy that we place on the object, and then funneling that object into it is part of the spell. I've also got hundreds and thousands because this person might need a little bit of sugar. A little bit of a sugar rush. So there you go. Now, I had some of these left over. This is some little beaded pearls. And I actually find like pearls, how beautiful is a pearl? And of course the idea of where the pearl comes from, it had to go through, you know, the oyster, the irritant of the oyster. So I would also add some pearls in there, chanting the whole time, thinking about my person that I'm healing, that I'm sending beautiful healing energy to get them out of this place. It could also be mental health as well. Although I can't change a mood disorder, I can't change someone's, you know, stance of how they see the world. But what I can do is bring them softness and sweetness, bring them love and light from a point of view of me wishing them well. You know, we've got to be realistic as well, of course. So I'm just picking up all the little bits and pieces that has dropped in. So how does that look? It looks pretty good to me. Now you could also do this with a poppet. If you wanted, you could make a little doll, and you could of course target areas of the doll to try and heal it. So it could be the head or the heart or whatever. You're always going to be focusing on that particular energy. So you would envision light coming down into the target or into the person, and it's hitting that tumor, or it's hitting that wound, and the wound is shrinking. The cancer is shrinking. The rogue cells that have gone off in their body that's causing chaos is starting to fade away. We can really see in our mind's eye as we're doing this, we're just really getting into that energy there. I'm starting to feel it already, actually. It's not even like, yeah. You've really got to get into a heart space here to do this. So one of the things that I would do with this type of magic is I might actually go for a run before I do this. So I'll go for a run, work out my body, get in my physical state, get myself grounded. For me personally, nothing gets me more grounded than going for a run or going for a swim. And then I'll come home, I'll have everything set up ready to go to do my spell or to do my healing on someone, my distant healing as we're doing here. And then I'll lay on the floor for about 10 minutes, really meditating, really channeling that person, really thinking about the points of the body that we're focusing on, and really looking at the frequency. Is it in their stomach? Is it in their solar plexus? Really going there. Now, what we can do as well, this is also part of this healing energy. We're going to place our hands over the top of the candle very gently. And at this point now, I would go ahead and light the wick, but in this case, I'll be doing that later. Placing our hands over the top of the candle. I might be able to zoom in just a little bit so you can get in a bit closer. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to create an energy ball. And we will already have that because we'll have the fire going in the middle of the candle. And we're going to start creating a very light energy ball around the candle. And we're using the element of fire, which in Wicca is the element of spirit. And we're channeling that down into the candle. Now the energy ball, I wouldn't make it any bigger than probably like a tennis ball size. And then we're going to build up the energy. We're building up the energy. We're pushing it from our heart chakra, down our arms, into our fingers, and envision that light hitting the candle. Envision the target, envision the healing that we are doing, and it's going down into them. Now, if any of their illness, we can visualize it. If they're in the shower, it's just running out of their body and down the plug hole, down into the drain pipe. We're envisioning it going down into the earth, down into the ground, down into the roots. We're returning the energy that was not from their natural state back to the state in which it came. Okay? So we'll make a little tennis ball, and then over time, now there's no rush. It could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes. What we're doing, we're going Rama de Sahasa. I'll leave the wording underneath in the video description. Focusing on that, hovering on that. It's really good once I can latch on to a heartbeat. So if you could focus on the person's heartbeat as well while you're doing this, this would help you get more connected. And then the energy ball that we're wanting to create in our hands around the candle or around the flame should be about the size of a basketball. And that is when we are ready to release the spell. Okay, so you might have your own mantra, you might have your own little words that you like to say. It could be broken bones, broken heart, I heal thee. Broken bones, broken heart, I release thee. I release you from your pain. I release you from this suffering. I bring good fortune. I bring good health. I bring vitality. I bring abundance. Really build up that energy. Get real with this. We're really going there. Okay, really get passionate. You've got to get passionate about your magic, guys. You've got to have the discipline and the determination to really believe that this is working. Okay, with that power of your belief and the basketball that you've formed around the candle, I'd be sitting here for about 10, 15 minutes going over and really feeling that ball. And then when you're ready, release, down, into the candle, into this little space that we've created, boom. Let the candle burn down, right down to the wick. You will not touch this. This will all burn. The feather will eventually catch on fire. The little rose petals will catch on fire. Whatever you've got there, let it burn. I wouldn't care if it even burnt the crystal. What we've done is we have created a healing for this person. We have sent the highest vibration of frequency to that person. Okay, and that's part of what it is. You might even know there was a Hawaiian doctor that was quite famous where he had that line that he used to use, which I think I'm a little bit out of my scope with this type of magic, but one of the things was, I'm sorry, I love you, thank you, forgive me. I think it was that one. I'm pretty sure it's in those, arranged in that way. What he's doing there, what the concept of that was, is that what I'm saying is we're all one. So I don't actually care about, like, say when you say I'm sorry, well, what are we saying we're sorry for? I didn't do it. I didn't make you sick. I didn't hurt you. It doesn't matter. I'm stepping up to the spiritual world and I'm taking ownership that happened to you, that experience happened to you. I wasn't there. I didn't directly cause it. But I'm sorry it happened to you, okay? I'm sorry. On behalf of the universe, on behalf of that person, I acknowledge it and I'm sorry that experience happened to you. I love you. I'm bringing you into my arms. I'm not judging you. I'm not hurting you. You'll get no judgment from me. I'm pulling you in close to my heart, so our hearts are close, touching. I'm looking you in the eye, and I'm making you feel safe. You are seen, you are heard, you are integrated. When you speak to me, I listen to you. I hold space for you. I understand you. I take the time to be there for you. I'm returning you back to oneness. Because when we're in a place of being brutalized, we're in a place of being completely rejected, when we're in a place of feeling completely disowned, well, we're not really going to be in our highest frequency. And all anger is from pain. So when someone is in anger, they're in pain. When we hold on to emotions in the body, that becomes toxic, and that's what manifests into different types of physical ailments that happen in the body. For example, if you don't feel supported, which I never did in my family, even to this day, being around my family is incredibly painful. I often get extreme back pain when I go home to visit my family. Why? Because I'm putting myself in a situation or a frequency with people that were back where I was 25 years ago, 20 years ago. They haven't really grown, they haven't evolved. I have. I've created my own support system for myself, but back when I was in their care, I felt completely unseen, completely unsupported. And so when I'm back there, I get reminded of that frequency, of that vibration, suddenly back pain. Because back pain, I don't feel supported. The spinal cord of my astral self is not supported. So a lot of these physical ailments like sore feet, could have like plantar fasciitis or some type of problem with the bone in the foot or any type of feet problem, is fear of taking the next step. A lot of people that really suffer from mouth problems, gossip. They're gossiping, they're talking about other people, like everything. Like there is actually books on, I'm not even joking, there are actual books out there that will tell you, I think it's not even the Liz Hayes one, but there are quite a few books out there that will actually tell you you'll put in or you look up the the physical ailment or the physical condition of sickness, and then you'll look up the spiritual cause, like a dictionary. It's no joke. It is no joke. So thank you, I'm sorry, I love you. So it's like when, say when you go to a park or a public place and there's rubbish laying around on the floor, I didn't pick that, I didn't put it there. Like, why should I pick it up? I didn't do it. Why do I have to pick up other people's rubbish? Why? Why do I have to do that? Well, because it doesn't matter who put it there. What matters is that I'm taking the next step to step up and just take ownership and responsibility for it. And that's the truth. Like, pointing the finger and pointing blame a lot of the time, if someone's unwilling, or most people are unwilling to face it, they don't want to own their part in the dysfunction. So they're never going to get it, but you're still stuck in the pain of that. So we have to fill in the gaps on their behalf if we can't include them in our resolution to get that resolution so that we can heal. And healing is understanding something. It's integrating it. Why did that experience happen to you? Understand it and let it go. We can't sit in it, okay? We just can't, because then we become the perpetrator, we become the problem. We're an unhealed person going out and just vomiting negativity or pain and suffering on other people, because a frequency can only meet another frequency on the vibration of where that frequency is. So see how that's a mismatch? Say if you're here, they're there, it's got to be in the right match. That's how energy works. Okay, so if someone's really angry, then they're going to attract other angry people, and nothing brings two people closer together than suffering. Hey, what do you hate? Hey, what do I hate? What do we hate in common? Ha ha ha. So it's a vibration. I hope that kind of makes a little bit of sense. But yeah, a lot of spiritual stuff really comes from the astral body. It comes from the soul. And it's just about stepping up. I didn't do it, but what I'm doing is I'm taking some level of accountability. I'm here for you now, okay? I'm here for you. I'm not letting you go. I'm holding space for you, and I'm going to nourish you and take care of you. And that is the energy of a healing spell. I'm going to hold you in my arms, walk you down into the waves, and let the water wash away, this negativity, this toxic frequency. If there's any parasitic energies that are hanging around your auric field, well, I'm going to break them. And if you've got a selenite knife or a atame, or a black, as we call it in the darker side, the atame, the black dagger, you can also use that to sever or cut energetic frequencies off someone. There is also ways where in some shamans, they're able to hold their hands above a person. Also in some types of pranic healing or Reiki, it's able to energetically wiggle their fingers in and remove and pull frequencies or attachments out of the auric field. Because the auric field on your chakras actually are not in you, they're around you. I hope that makes sense too. But yeah, so time and space doesn't mean anything. I can send healing energy to the other side of the world, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing to my beautiful friend. I'm going to rise her frequency up into the astral plane. I'm going to really, really give her, from my heart, a really strong healing from myself. Now, we've got to be realistic when it comes to healing. You can't give what you don't have. So if you're in a place that is not in a healed state, you should be focusing on healing yourself before you can heal someone else. You have to put on your seatbelt before you help someone else put their seatbelt on. You can't give what you don't have. So when it comes to any type of spiritual stuff, if you're not in abundance, if you're not taking care of yourself and doing your self-care first, you shouldn't even be thinking about helping someone else. You can't give what you don't have. You can't pour from an empty cup. I see it all the time. Okay, so first of all, cleansing bath, eating properly, sleeping properly, removing yourself from toxic situations, removing yourself from toxic energies, disconnecting from frequencies that don't serve you, processing your trauma, understanding your trauma, moving beyond, that is what you do. Or you make art, or you do something with it. You just can't sit in it. Otherwise, you're going to be faced with some serious health problems. Okay, this is basic 101 stuff here. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, healing comes from a heart place. It must come from a place of the heart, and it comes from a place of the highest intentions. I can't change the choices that this person's made, but what I can do is relieve them of their suffering now. I can take away or ease their pain, and that's what I'm trying to do. So that's what healing is for me. But yeah, how are we going for time? Yeah. Where are we at? 49. So that's kind of gone for a long time. I've given you a pretty heavy video. I've tried to really tell you a healing video or a healing spell, candle spell there. I didn't want to get too hardcore on the chanting, because I believe that you should do what you want to do. But you can see that looks pretty good to me. We've got the rose quartz, we've got the rose petals, the pearls. We've sweetened it. We've made it. It's a very sweet, light, and generally this type of magic is a bit light for me, but that's okay. I don't mind. And for the right person, I will go there. I will do this. Of course, in the real world, if they were physically able to be in my house, I would lay them down on my massage table. I would hold my hands over them and I would perform a healing. But sometimes we can't, so distance healing will work. Don't give up on your magic and have the determination and the dedication to really see your spells through, okay? Believe in yourself, believe in the power of what you have. We have incredible electrical energy frequencies in our body that we can push out into the world with our intention, and that has an effect on other people. It does, because we're all connected. That's why when I was talking about the I'm sorry, I love you, thank you, the mantra, is that I'm easing your pain because I'm recognizing what I see. I see that you're in pain. I see that you're not in a good place. I'm taking ownership for it, that someone else has done it to you, but I'm here for you and I'm going to step up to try and ease that for you. And I'm giving you love and oneness. I'm not judging you. I'm not pushing you away. I'm not hurting you. I'm just here to hold space for you, to let you breathe and be a soft place for you to fall. So this was my video on healing spell. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Please let me know what your healing spell is or your healing mantra. I'm always interested in finding out new ways of doing things. Yeah, I've enjoyed this one. It's been fun, and I hope that you're having a really good week. We need more healing in the world. We really do. Where are the healers? Like, where the fuck are the healers? So yeah, heal yourself first, work on you, and I will see you in the next video. Yeah. All right, I'll let you go. Bye. Bye, guys.